I have videos in my head of good, some of them funny memories. In one of the videos, Daddy, Papa O, is the main character. Of course, Papa O was a character. When we were little, we would go to Grandma and Grandpa Elmer's farm outside Omaha, Arkansas. When I was too young to remember, my folks bought a farm at auction, located not far from Grandma and Grandpa Elmer's farm. My dad worked for NCR, National Cash Register, Monday through Friday, and we would go to my grandparents on Friday night after my dad got off work and come home on Saturday night for church on Sunday. On Saturday, my dad worked all day bulldozing trees off the hills to make more pasture. My mom cleaned Grandma and Grandpa Elmer's house while my two brothers, Rick and Brent, and sister, Lynn, and I would play outside all day. Lynn especially loved the cats and still does. In my mind's eye, I can see Lynn as a toddler holding a cat underneath its front legs, the cat facing forward, and the back legs swinging freely between her legs as she walked. Lynn had to lift the cat high so that hind legs and tail would not drag the ground too much. Somewhere there is a picture of her walking toward the photographer holding a cat that way. The cats never seemed to mind. On Saturday night, we all had a bath so we would be clean for church on Sunday mornings. Grandma Elmer would have Ma heat water on the stove to put in the bathtub for us kids, so Daddy would have hot water to take a shower in the basement. Grandma Elmer would make chicken and dumplings for supper. She rolled out the dumplings. Those were the best dumplings ever. I wish I had her recipe and tips on making them. I do remember standing near the counter watching her mix and then roll the dough with a wooden rolling pin on the white wooden pull-down countertop. She cut the dough into strips with a knife. One Saturday night, we headed back home for church on Sunday after our chicken and dumplings. It was summer, so it was still light, and Daddy needed to stop and let a large steer out of the barn. For those who are not familiar with cattle terminology, a steer is a teenage boy calf who has had his testicles removed. A cow is a mature female. However, cow can be used to refer to any age or sex of a bovine. A bull is a male with intact reproductive organs, so capable of reproduction and weigh about a ton, 2,000 pounds. A calf is a young cow, whether female or male. A steer is a male that has been castrated, has his testicles cut off so he cannot reproduce. Steers are castrated so they do not get as big as a bull, which could be a ton or 2,000 pounds. Steers weigh about 1,200 pounds and are sold for meat. The sun was low in the sky, so it was cooling down some, but still plenty of light to see Daddy as he walked to the barn in his white t-shirt, work pants, and boots. The truck was parked facing the barn, and the five of us sat in the cab in contented silence near the end of our day. It was not unusual for us kids to fall asleep on the way home. Of course, the windows were rolled down because there was no air conditioning, just a heater. Air conditioning was rolling down the windows going 60 miles per hour. I remember riding to Branson just after sunset with my bent elbow sticking out the open window and feeling the cool air at the bottom of the hill, then up the hill into the warm air, and then down the hill again into the cool air. We sat in the cab of the pickup with the windows down facing the barn, waiting to see Daddy come back so we could head home. It was a while before we first saw the nose and then quickly the head of the steer coming out of the barn. The steer was running full out something a little unusual for a cow, even a steer. We all sat up a little, eyes peeled. Before anybody could say anything, we saw Daddy sitting backwards on the rear end of the steer. As the steer and Daddy cleared the barn, about 5 feet out from the barn, Daddy scooted himself off the back of the steer, landing on his feet. The steer kept running out to the field, and Daddy turned and started walking toward the truck. Saw us and started laughing. We knew he must be okay, then we started laughing too. That woke us up for the ride home. Daddy climbed into the truck, still laughing, and told us what happened in the barn. He was trying to get the steer to go back out the back of the barn, but the steer did not want to go out the back of the barn. Daddy was yelling and had his arms raised in the air waving, trying to convince the steer to go out the back. Instead, the steer ran toward Daddy, lowered his head between Daddy's legs, and kept running, carrying Daddy on his back. Although this happened long before there was America's Funniest Videos, I am sure Daddy would have won it all. He certainly would have gone viral on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.